Okay, so it's 9 o'clock, and at this time, I would like to bring to order the meeting of March 9th, 2022. And could you please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, next we have roll call. Janet, please.
Commissioner Gupta,
Here.
Commissioner Hansen,
Here.
Commissioner Ketchum,
Here.
Chair Ramirez,
Here.
and staff is represented by Monowitz, Fox, and Montes.
All right, thank you. Next, we have items that are not on the agenda. At this point, Janet will advise the public on how they may participate during the public comment.
Thank you, Chair. For those attending the meeting on the Zoom video conference, we will use the raised hand feature in order to organize any public comments. During the general public comment period, and for each item on the regular agenda, I will ask those members of the public who wish to comment to click the raise hand feature to raise your hand to speak on that agenda item. For those joining by phone, please press *9 to indicate your desire to speak. Please note that members of the public must wait for my prompt in connection with each agenda item before using the raised hand function. For example, you cannot raise your hand at the beginning of the meeting for an item that is later in the meeting. When you hear your name called, I'll prompt you to unmute your account and you may begin speaking. Please note you have 2 minutes. Thank you. And then right now, Chair, I don't see anybody with their hands raised for items not on the agenda.
Okay, seeing that we don't have anybody from the public that wants to participate on this item, I'm going to close the public participation unless there's an objection. All right, so next we can move on to, we have 3 items on the consent agenda.
I so move that we accept the consent agenda.
Do we have a second?
I second, but there's a typo here for the meeting minutes. It's for the February 9 and February 23rd meeting minutes. So we just need to correct that. I second the motion.
So we have a first and a motion and a second, and if we can just make those corrections, then we can do a roll call for this item.
Commissioner Gupta,
Aye.
Commissioner Hansen,
Aye.
Commissioner Ketchum,
Aye.
Chair Ramirez.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, next we have item number 4. Janet, can you read it for the record, please?
Item number 4, owner Rita and Stefan Sempravivo, applicant Edward Love, file number PLN 2020-00201, location 3rd Avenue in Miramar. And our project planner this morning is Angela Chavez.
Thank you.
Morning, commissioners, staff.
Good morning.
Just gonna share my screen really quick here. Sorry. All right. Sorry about that. The control button was right at the top of how to start the slideshow. I wanted to just start with a brief introduction about the project. We'll go over just quickly the general plan, local coastal program, zoning regulations, and environmental review compliance for this project. As Janet mentioned, the project site is located on 3rd Avenue in the unincorporated Miramar area. It is a vacant parcel, which I have outlined here in the red box. The subject site has a very moderate slope, and it has some just a native vegetation that is present. There is a shallow intermittent stream, which is Arroyo de En Medio, which runs approximately 30 feet southeast of the parcel. So we can kind of see the tree cover in there. Cabrillo Highway is just north of this, or sorry, to the right of the screen here, and developed parcels, as we can see, surround it on pretty much all sides. The parcel just below, or to the left here, which is identified as 477, is showing as vacant here. This, unfortunately, this is the most current aerial we have, but this was approved by the commission a few years ago and is currently in its final stages of completion. Just back up a second. So the applicant proposes to construct a new 1,751 square feet, 2-story single-family residence. This includes a 431 square foot attached 2-car garage and a 550 square foot second unit on an existing 6,150 square foot legal parcel. I should note that through the top of this parcel, which I'll show you later, there is an access easement which serves this larger property here identified as 479, as well as the parcel identified as 477. The gross area, which is outlined in the staff report, is slightly smaller. The parcel was determined to be legal via a 2007 subdivision. The proposed project consists of, like, as I mentioned, a 2-story residence, which includes 3 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, a 2-car garage, and a rear deck. There's also, again, a second unit, which is located above the proposed garage. And then proposed landscaping consists of native, drought tolerant, and non-invasive species. So in terms of the conformity with the general plan, as discussed in the staff report, the project was found to be in compliance with the applicable standards. Staff's analysis found a significant amount of similarity in the intent and goals of the various regulations. The applicable general plan policies are shown here. And so the vegetative, water, fish, wildlife resources, visual quality, historical and archaeological resources, urban land use, water supply, man-made hazards. The conformity with the local coastal program policies are shown here. So locating and planning new development, again, sensitive habitats, visual resources, and shoreline access. Basically the sensitive habitats come from just the proximity of the creek. I do have a slide later that will show you just how close it is, and that the required buffer in association with the local coastal program requirements has been delineated. Just because there is no through access from Cabrillo Highway and the sea, the shoreline access requirements get triggered. But again, this, as we saw, this property doesn't have direct access to any beach. And so those requirements aren't in effect. In terms of, I also want to mention that a biologist report and cultural resources report were both submitted as part of the review of this project. And while no resources were found, both reports included best practice and mitigation measures that should be included in the unlikely chance that any resources are found. Those mitigation measures were included as mitigation measures in the mitigated negative declaration, as well as conditions of approval in attachment A of the staff report. So here's just a quick review of the S17 zoning district. We find that the project is compliance with the minimum lot size, setbacks, front, sides, and rear. Also with the allowable lot coverage and allowable floor area and maximum height. So just a quick overview of the projects. You can see this sort of dash graded area or grayed out area at the front indicates the ingress egress easement, which serves the other two properties that I mentioned. And then the additional setback that's required by the zoning regulations is also shown here. You can see this dark blue line at the back indicates the required buffer. So the project was reviewed by the COSI Design Review Committee at its April 8th, 2021 meeting. The commission found that, or the committee rather, found that it was consistent with these design guidelines. So the neighborhood definition and character, the elements of design, landscaping, paved areas, fences, lighting, and noise. So here we have just the front elevation at the top. We have the right side elevation here at the bottom. And you can see the slope from high to low as we go from the front to the rear of the parcel. At the top here, we have the rear elevation. And then at the bottom, we have the left side elevation. I included the floor plans just in case we were curious. So the main entry floor is actually the lowest level that we are sort of looking at from the rear, so we can see the decks. The main entry floor where the garage and living spaces. And then this upper elevation shows the proposed ADU. I'm also providing you just an example of the approved landscaping plan. And in terms of the conformance with the California Environmental Quality Act, an initial study and mitigative negative declaration was prepared for the project and was circulated. The public comment period ran from February 9th and ended on March 1st. One comment was received, and that was from the California Coastal Commission. And essentially what their comments were focused on was basically the proximity of Arroyo de en Medio to the project site. Unfortunately, the map that I have here was not included as part of that report, but we can see that the creek center line is shown in this blue line here. The biologist also delineated the ordinary high water mark line in this purple, and then the required buffer zone is provided in the orange. So clearly the proposed development is outside of any required buffer zone and complies with the policies of the LCP. So again, mitigation measures were included in the initial study, and mitigative negative declaration have also been included as attachment or as conditions of approval in attachment A, and they maintain their description, so they're clear within the staff report. Therefore, based on staff's analysis and discussions in the staff report, it's our recommendation that the Planning Commission adopt the initial study and mitigative negative declaration and approve the requested permits subject to the recommended findings and conditions of approval as listed in attachment A. This concludes my presentation, but I'm available if you have any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Chavez. Any questions from commissioners? Commissioner Gupta.
I'll come back with my questions right now. I really don't have any questions.
Okay, Commissioner Ketchup.
No questions, thank you.
Commissioner Hanson.
Angela, I thought a very well-written report, and it was concise and to the point. I have no questions.
Okay, I don't have any questions either, so can we open, or does the applicant want to say something? Janet, can we?
I don't believe the applicant is on the line.
Okay. All right. So then we'll open it for public comments.
We're now opening public comment for item number 4. And give it a second. Chair, there are no hands raised for this item.
Okay. Then if there's no objections, I would like to close public participation at this time. And so we can probably do our deliberation on this item. Commissioner Hanson.
I like the report. I like the project. You know, I find everything appropriate. I'm in support of it. I don't have much more than that to say.
Great. Commissioner Ketchum.
Thank you. I'm familiar with the same potential environmental issues for the site that were addressed for the home on the adjacent parcel, which was approved in 2017. And so I've got no problem with this project.
Great. Commissioner Gupta.
The project looks pretty good to me. I just have a very general comment. I don't know whether this is the time to say it or not, but I thought that it would be nice to just to get a feel for how the new home fits into the neighborhood. If there was a way of putting the rendering of the home in its place along with the side homes that are already there, so we can get a overall view of how it looks. But other than that, no, I think it looks pretty good. Looks very much. The word I'm looking for is not overwhelming for the site, because the parcel is still on the, in my opinion, on the smaller side, but it looks like a nice design. So I'll
Great.
leave it at that.
Okay, well, thank you. Yeah, I'm going to follow along the same lines. I think that it's a good design. I think they did a great job to incorporate it into the topography. You know, they got it into the hill there, and the ADU, I think it fits nicely also in there. So I think it was well designed overall. So with that, then I would like a consideration for a motion.
I would do that. I move to adopt the mitigated negative declaration and approve the coastal development permit and design review, county file number PLN 2021-00201, based on and subject to the required findings and conditions of approval listed in attachment A of the staff report.
I will second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Janet, can you do the roll call, please?
Commissioner Gupta,
Aye.
Commissioner Hanson,
Aye.
Commissioner Ketchum,
Aye.
Chair Ramirez.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes 4-0.
Congratulations, and thank you for the presentation, Mrs. Chavez. That was great. Great. With that, then we move on to our item number 5, correspondence and other matters.
Yes, thank you. Good morning, commissioners. I have no correspondence to report to you today. With regard to our next meeting, we will be having a study session. It will be a discussion of the long-range work program, as well as a discussion of the upcoming housing element. So look forward to that discussion.
Okay. The director's report. Sorry.
Yeah, so I've got 4 things to report to you today. First, I'd like to welcome Sam Becker. He's a new planner with us. I believe he's on the line watching. Very pleased to have him on the team. We've got 2 other vacancies on the planning side of the house that we're trying to fill at the moment with some nice, some good candidates. Pleased to bring some new folks on board. So you'll be seeing some new faces in the near future. So thanks for attending today, Sam. Then with regard to the commissioner vacancy that we currently have, there has been an announcement posted on the county's boards and commission website, current vacancies. So if you know anyone who might be interested from Supervisor Canopus District, I know we're all anxious to get that spot filled. So nice to see that that process is moving forward. This coming Friday, the Coastal Commission will be meeting, and on the agenda is an appeal of the approval of the single family residence on Ocean Avenue. You might recall the concerns about bluff stability setbacks and some variances required to build this home. So the county's approval was appealed by Green Foothills. The Coastal Commission staff is recommending that the appeal does not raise a substantial issue, which means they are upholding the county's decision. Green Foothills has sent correspondence agreeing with that recommendation, recognizing that, you know, they would have liked to see a more robust bluff analysis as part of the county's review, but they appreciated our incorporation of the commission's kind of standard conditions for development on hazardous locations. And there were some technical corrections they were looking for in the decision letter, which I think we've been able to address. So that's been successfully resolved. And the final item I've reported to you, I have to report to you is at one of our prior meetings, I think Commissioner Ketchum expressed some interest in being more informed about coastal permit exemptions that are pending or being processed. And there's one that I think will be of interest to the commission, and that has to do with the cleanup and rebuild of the fire damaged home at 96 Terrace. This is, speaking of the Ocean Avenue appeal, fairly close by in a, I think what we would all recognize as a hazardous location. It was a home that was destroyed by a fire, and per the Coastal Act and our local coastal program, the replacement of a home destroyed by a natural disaster is exempt from coastal permit requirements. So they're interested in proceeding with the building permit process, and, you know, of course, need to secure any discretionary approvals first. And so in this case, we've concluded that the proposed rebuild does qualify for an exemption, so that will likely be issued soon. So that concludes my report for today, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Steve, for that report on the CDX. I really like that extra information. Very helpful.
Yeah, you're welcome. I will keep it on the kind of list of things to report to you moving forward. Any coastal permit exemptions that I think you might be interested in.
Particularly, you know, shoreline, creeks, you know, this environmental stuff. So, is this just? Are we now on commissioner updates and questions?
Chair Ramirez, you're on mute.
Sorry. Okay, sorry about that. Yes, I'm sorry. And I was trying to say, for
Okay.
each one. I didn't realize that. So yes, Ms. Ketchum, now we are on questions and yeah.
So I get a couple more things. So do you have any updates on the timing for the Connect the Coast side when that will be coming to the Planning Commission?
Yes, I know that Chand is aiming to bring it to you in April, I believe, the second meeting. in
April.
April.
Second meeting in April?
Yes, that's my understanding.
Okay. And lastly, the Airport Street bulk propane yard, where this stands, this CDP to address the unpermitted development and use, it's been stalled since 2018. The hazards were first brought forward in 2015, and I don't see any progress on the permit. So, you know, I understand there's no motivation for the business owner, but where will this, how can we get this resolved?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to follow up with you and Summer, who's been, I know, working with you on trying to address this matter to figure out next steps. I mean, generally speaking, when we have a violation where we are working with a property owner towards a resolution and then they fail to follow through, I think, which is my recollection of kind of what's occurred here, then we move towards citations and other actions. So if it's the time to go in that direction, I think that's the likely way to proceed. So let me follow up with Summer and report back to you if that's okay.
Thank you very much. That's all I have.
May I, Chair?
Sorry, I closed my my mic. Yes, go ahead, Ms. Gupta.
I think some of us attended this training for the boards and commissions, which was a good thing. I'm sorry. Let me turn this off.
Thank you for attending. I'm glad to hear that. I know Janeth was there as well, and it sounded like a good discussion.
It was, they had included many things in there. So there were certain items where they couldn't spend as much time as I would have liked to see. But what they said is that we can reach out to our liaisons if we want more information, type of thing. So I felt this was a very good start because I don't remember having any kind of training before or at the start of my commitment with the Planning Commission. So this is, I didn't see any really survey coming from them, but I think it's a good first step. So I just wanted to bring that up. That's all.
That's it. Anything else, Ms. Gupta?
No, that is all. Thank you.
Mr. Hanson, anything?
No,
Okay. I do have maybe a couple of questions for Steve. Something that has been on my mind because now we know that this year we didn't get a lot of rain, and we're still in a drought. And the last bout that we had with the drought, like 4 years ago, before we got a big chunk of rain, we were heading more in the direction of requiring moving into gray water systems. And I'm wondering if it's anything that the county may be looking at as we continue to deal with this, wattage shortages. And I was just, because of the well that we just approved, and the wells are drying up. So we need to find ways to save water. So there was a lot of talk back at the last bout that we had with the drought, and then we got more water, and kind of things fell, and nobody really followed up. But I think it's probably a good time to start thinking about ways that the county can do to alleviate some of the problems with droughts. And I'm thinking a gray water system to incorporate into our codes would probably be a good place to start. So anyway, something to think for the future. Just a second, how are you doing now with accepting applications? Have you started in person fully, or is that coming up, or how are we doing on that?
Well, yes, so we are open for business. We have been for quite some time, I want to say since June. We strongly encourage appointments. Previously, it was required. And as you may recall, we had a customer service window on the exterior of the building that allowed for transactions, so people didn't have to go inside and upstairs. What we found was that the use of that window was diminishing, and more folks were making their way upstairs without appointments, and so we've gotten less rigid about requiring appointments. But we still, as I said, are strongly encouraging them, because we think it's in the best interest of our applicants to avoid people crowding in the waiting room at one time. So, but yes, we are definitely working face-to-face with our applicants.
Okay, great. Yeah, I don't have any more questions. And if there's no more questions from the commissioners, I'm going to say that this meeting is adjourned. And with that, I'm going to say we will see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks all. See you next time.
See you next time. Okay, bye.